My hands won't stop shaking. I'm 120,000 feet above Earth. One slip and it's all over. The radio signal is dead and no one is coming to save me. Just go back inside, Jay. You don't have to do this. Let's just wait here a little longer and try again tomorrow. But I can't. I can't put it off anymore. The only way home is down. Except the void wasn't 120,000 feet down, it was 20 feet away. 2 minutes earlier, I was just an attendee at a business event, standing in the back, safe. All of a sudden, I heard my name. I hadn't prepared a single word. I walked up the stairs, the lights blinded me, and my heart wasn't just racing, it was hammering against my ribs. What do I say? What if I freeze? What if I humiliate myself? I looked around the room, and all I heard was silence. With 200 pairs of eyes locked onto me, I was paralyzed. It was the exact same fear that paralyzed a man sitting at his desk on New Year's Day, 1863. That man was Abraham Lincoln. He was about to sign the most controversial document in American history, a decree that he knew would turn a bloody war into a slaughter. He grabbed his gold pen, held it over the paper, but his hand was trembling, stuck in hesitation. And the truth is, hesitation was in his nature. Lincoln wasn't a stoic hero. He suffered from severe clinical depression his entire life, often struggling to even get out of bed. But despite the darkness in his mind, he had moral clarity. Slavery. Lincoln looked around and saw men owned by other men. He read the Declaration of Independence stating that all men are created equal, yet when he looked around and saw the very land he stood on built off the backs of people with no rights for their own lives, he realized it was all a lie. And by 1862, the Civil War between the North and the South had been raging for over a year. And Lincoln was losing battle after battle. The newspaper mocked him. They called him a coward and an idiot for being too slow. But they didn't know that in his desk, hidden under a pile of papers, he had a secret: the Emancipation Proclamation. He had written it months ago, but he was terrified to release it. He left it in the drawer, untouched, waiting for the perfect moment. Until January 1st, he had no choice. The war was drowning the country in blood, and the North was losing hope. No more waiting. He gripped the pen until his knuckles turned white, and he signed it boldly: Abraham Lincoln. With that ink, chains broke. As he later wrote, "If slavery is not wrong, nothing is wrong." Back on that stage, my hand was still shaking, paralyzed. I realized that if I waited for the courage to arrive, I would be standing there forever. So just like Lincoln, I didn't wait for the fear to pass. I gripped the cold metal of the stand, and I spoke. I can't even remember what I said. The adrenaline wiped my memory. But I do remember one thing. I didn't die. My fear was just a feeling. For Lincoln, the fear was a warning. 2 years after he signed that paper, the gamble paid off. The Civil War ended. Lincoln walked through the streets of the enemy capital, not as a conqueror, but as a savior. For the first time in 4 years, the noise stopped. He had finally earned his peace. 5 days later, he went to Ford's Theatre to enjoy it. And a bullet ended it all. He had walked toward that signature knowing it might cost him everything. And it did. After the bullet, the country mourned. For 13 days, millions of people lined the tracks, standing in the pouring rain just to say goodbye. The boy, born into poverty, was now the father of the nation. But if you visit him in Washington today, you won't see the boy. You will see a 19-foot giant carved from cold white marble, eternal, stoic, and completely unshakable. But the statue was a lie. The fate of the country never rested on the unshakable stone. It rested on his shaking hand. After what felt like a very long 2 minutes, I finished speaking. I braced myself for the worst: booze, silence, stones. But instead, applause. As I walked off that stage, everything had changed. I wasn't just a face in the crowd anymore. People lined up to talk to me. They wanted to hear my story. The disaster I imagined, it was all in my head. Throughout our lives, we wait to be the marble. We wait for the fear to leave. We wait for the perfect moment to arrive. We look at these statues of heroes, people who changed the world, and we wonder how they were so brave. But we forget, like you and I, they were consumed by fear. Lincoln's hand was shaking, but he signed the paper anyway, because he knew the truth about time. It keeps ticking whether you jump or not. Waiting doesn't fix the fear, it just prolongs it. Lincoln's decision eventually cost him his life. Your decision almost certainly won't. But if it weren't for his courage, millions would have remained in chains. He knew that the only thing heavier than the risk was the regret of doing nothing. If you want to guarantee it, stay on the ledge. If you don't, then don't wait for tomorrow. Don't wait for the trembling to stop. Just jump.